glove, we're breaking through. Nothing left but me and you. Glitching hearts in neon blue. Infinite, eternal truth.
What's going on, sexies? Today another video, this time in my room because fuck it. And honestly, you can see me better. It's dark and I could always just make a video outside. I don't really give a shit, but yeah. I just figured, you know what? Let's just do it in my room. Alright. But this one is about arguing. And it's something that I've dealt with. A lot of us mostly probably have dealt with this. We argue. If you grow up with someone that's toxic, obviously you're gonna, especially through your spiritual awakening, you could. A lot of what pushes people through awakening is just being around a toxic environment. You know, for me, I was around a toxic mother that's kind of physically, not really physically, more like emotionally abusive. But you know what I mean, just bashing heads. Maybe you were around someone and like your connection with them is very toxic. You know what I mean, like. You're in a karmic relationship, whatever, you're always bashing heads and just arguing and shit. But really you gotta understand is most of the time when we argue, it's just ego. It's the ego trying to be right. And you really, when you go through your shift in consciousness, you begin to lose the need to be right. So let go of the need to be right because of this ego. You're gonna have more peace in your life and alignment in your life when you let go of the need to be right. Because then the need to be right is simply the ego. When you understand that there is no meaning to anything in the reality that we live in, the reality that we reside in, there's no meaning to anything other than the meaning that we've given it. We've given everything a meaning. We've made, literally everything was created. This door was created, this wall was created, and we gave it a meaning, we gave it a name. Everything that is happening in reality, we just given it a meaning and we attach labels and ideas to it, but it doesn't actually exist. We just collectively agree and we play it by a set of rules that appear to be, you know, they appear to exist, but they don't. We're just playing a game, if you will. That's why it's all perspective, you know. One person can perceive reality to be so serious and shitty. They're going to perceive just that, and they're not going to be able to live their whole experience, and they're not going to be able to even perceive of, you know, people and opportunities that they can experience in life because they perceive it to be so serious and shitty. Where maybe the one who's been doing inner work, like me or whatever, can see that there is beauty and there is light in life and there is purpose and flow and harmony and whatever. So I will, you know, me, I am seeing the interconnectivity of all things. I'm experiencing more peace and joy and bliss because I'm not in a victim mindset. You know what I mean? I changed the perspective because it's all perspective. As above, so below. As it is in here, it will be here in the physical, down here below. So that's why you gotta fix up here, up as above. You gotta fix your head. You know, you gotta connect to your higher self and stop thinking so damn much and being less in our ego, our logical mind. When you're less in your mind and more here in the present, it's easier to enjoy life because you're not fucking so fixated on one way of being, creating an ego out of a belief. Because when we tend to think that you know, disagreements are about logic, facts, or who's right, it's just ego games. But they're almost never about that, right? They're about belief. A belief is just a thought that we've repeated so many times that it starts to feel like reality, right? And once it feels like reality, we defend it. We huff and we puff like it matters so much. And we defend it as if we're defending ourselves. Because it kind of is, in a way, when you become so fixated on an idea or a belief that it became a part of you, you begin to develop an ego out of it, an identity out of it. So in a way, it's not a part of you, but in a way, it feels like it is because you've clung to it for so long. You know what I mean? So when someone disagrees with you, what they're really touching is not your idea; they're touching your identity. That's why disappointment feels like, that too, but that's why disagreement feels personal. That's why it feels emotional. That's why it feels tense. But here's the deeper layer to this shit, guys. There's no built-in meaning to anything, like I'm saying. To anything. Reality doesn't come with subtitles. You know what I mean? We've added meaning. We've assigned value. We created interpretations and labels. So every argument is really just two interpretations trying to be the dominant one. No, I'm the right one. No, I'm the right one. You know what I mean? Two lenses, two stories, two ways of organizing experience. Neither is inherently the truth. They're just different maps of the same territory, you know what I mean? It's like the ego wants its map to be the official tone, or the official map and only map. It wants validation. It wants to be right. It wants to win. But consciousness, awareness wants something else. Spirit, it wants to see, it wants to be, it wants to explore. It wants to hold multiple perspectives without needing to kill any of them. So the next time you feel yourself arguing, pause, and notice what's happening inside you. Are you trying to understand? Or are you trying to protect something? Your identity, your ego? Are you curious, or are you just threatened, the ego? Because the moment you stop needing your belief to survive, which is ego, you become free to listen, which is soulful, it's awareness, it's open-minded, it's consciousness. And when you can listen without judging, without needing to defend or be right, you enter a whole new different reality, a whole new different kind of intelligence. Not the intelligence of being right, the intelligence of being open and free. Third eye open, never close, And openness is where growth happens. Openness is where peace happens. Bliss. Openness is where you stop fighting reality and you start dancing with the reality. Because reality is a dance. You don't need to abandon your perspective. You don't need to chain yourself to it either, though, Just let it be like a lens. Let it be like a lens, not a cage. That's how you stay awake in a world full of mirrors, different perspectives, That's how you stay gentle in a world full of noise. And that's how you stay free, but not clinging to one version of reality. Understanding that you are multidimensional. There is many ways of perception. And I truly believe we chose to incarnate here. Or one of the reasons we chose to incarnate here was to understand the infinite perspectives. That's part of it, We're here to understand these other perspectives, but not to take it on as this is it and only this, Because that's what religion does in a way. It says, no, this is the right way. No, this is the right way. No, this is the right way. But neither are, I guess you could say neither is wrong, neither is right, Either way, it just is. God just is. The universe just is. It's not going anywhere. But when it comes to trying to be right, once I really shifted my spirituality, when I really awoke, when I woke up, I stopped listening to the ego and wanting to be right and wanting to argue. Because it's like you do go through a phase when you go through your spiritual awakening that you kind of do have a spiritual ego, right? And then when you try to tell people about it and they don't understand it, it creates arguments. Well, what do you mean? But you can manifest it by thought. You can do this and that. Why do you think you're so, just trying to be right. I let go of the need of trying to be right, of trying to show myself and prove myself so much to someone who's not even ready to hear what I'm saying, They're on their own journey, they're on their own level of consciousness, So it's just draining trying to prove yourself, trying to be seen so hard by someone. Let it come naturally. The people who are supposed to see will come into your life. And you won't have to take so much energy just to explain your soul. Like with this girl that I found, thank God that I found, right? She just gets me, I get her. We barely have to talk. And we just we know each other, we know our soul. If you know that this person's the right one, if you don't have to take fucking forever just to explain your soul, they just get your soul. Within 3 seconds, boom, I get you, that's true connection. That kind of went off topic, maybe not, but it's more like, well, I guess not, because I attracted her by being genuine and being authentic and, less attached to egoic desires and trying to be right. But when you let go of needing to be right, it's just so much more peaceful to enjoy this experience. You know what I mean? Because like again, I went through a spiritual ego, and I was always trying to show the side of this, consciousness, third eye shit. How don't you see? How don't you see? Just creating arguments, and it's like, it's draining. It's a waste of time. The people who are supposed to understand what you want to say, you'll attract them, that's what was connected. And then you won't have to spend so much time, explaining your soul because they resonate with you. If you have to, take so much time explaining your soul, the chances are they're not in alignment with you. They're in a different frequency. They're in a different evolution of their consciousness. So it doesn't matter to try and prove and exert yourself so they can understand you. It doesn't. The right ones will come and you won't have to barely use any energy to explain yourself. They'll just get it because they're simply vibrating at a frequency that is yours or similar to yours. So it's like I grew up with an emotionally abusive mom, and we'd always argue. She's narcissistic, whatever. Always argue, always try to be right. And she's always like that, and I was always like that. But it's just so draining to just trying to be the one that's always right. When you let it go, and you just kind of listen to their perspective, and you learn grace. You be humble. Well, it's like, okay, I can see from that perspective, but I can also see from my perspective. But I'm also not going to cling to one way of being, or one identity or an idea. It's kind of like taking it with a grain of salt. You know what I mean? I'm just here to learn, see from any side, any perspective, but I'm not going to identify with any belief. I'm observing, I'm being, and I'm living. Even when it comes to spirituality, I'm not identifying with spirituality. I'm not even defending any of these beliefs. I'm just saying, I'm kind of like, I resonate with this perspective, you know what I mean? I resonate with the perspective of being able to manifest, and they were light beings and multidimensionals. You can even go as far as to say that it's beyond belief because it's truth, you know what I mean? And truth is far beyond belief even. It's like what is, I guess, Through remembering, through doing the inner work, I just remembered that I'm more than these limitations in the mind that I put. So yeah, just remember, guys, you're more than these limitations that we put on ourselves. It's like, you want more peace in your life? Stop trying to be right all the time. Again, these are just ego. The ego loves to be right. The ego wants to be right. Me. No, I'm right. You know what I mean? The ego thinks it knows everything. And when you'll notice too that when you don't want to argue, and you're just like, yeah, all right, nice. I like your perspective. I'm just explaining my perspective. You might even irritate the people who are trying to argue, but again, that's just their ego trying to argue. Your light is gonna irritate unhealed people, so fuck it, let them be mad. If you wanna sit there, you wanna take your power back and energy back, and you don't wanna talk, you don't wanna argue, that's your decision, If they wanna be mad about you doing that, that's on them, that's not you. So, just learn to walk away, learn to just walk away. And once you find your peace, it's hard to lose it. Because you're aware of what's keeping you from being able to feel peace, A lot of the times it's trying to be right. Let go of the need of trying to be right. It doesn't matter. Because when you do, life is more fun. Because you're not trying to prove yourself anymore. You just being, you just are. So learn to just be, instead of trying to be seen. It doesn't matter. The right ones will come and see you. You don't gotta force it. But I'll see you guys tomorrow. I gotta do some stuff, man. I gotta go to the bathroom. I've been holding it in. I know this is probably TMI, but it is what it is, Namaste, lady. I'll see you tomorrow, guys, and the next day. And the next day. And the next day. Yep.